Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this Let's Talk mini series, I'm going to talk about dune riding and what it takes, in my opinion, to ride dunes, specifically on an adventure bike. There are special skills required on an adventure bike and things to be mindful on an adventure bike that are different from riding enduro bikes in the dunes. So, let's get cracking. I'm here at the moment riding in the dunes of Mazuga in Morocco. They are very large dunes and the sand is very soft. At this particular time is late afternoon and it affects the difficulty. So if you ride early morning, sometimes there's been a bit of moisture overnight if you're lucky, and the dunes are more compact. The soil composition is a bit colder and therefore the sand particles bind a bit better. So I'm now riding in one of the most difficult parts of the day, which is late afternoon, and therefore the sand particles have heated up and they don't bind as much, and therefore it makes it trickier to ride. So what do we have to do to navigate this type of environment? Well, one of the key things is reading the terrain, absolutely, is understanding the behaviors of the sand and reading the terrain. It matters whether you go 2 or 3 meters left or 2 or 3 meters right, because a dune composition is made up of various different sizes and of particles of sand. The lighter particles end up near the top of the dune due to the wind. They blow to the top of the dune, and in the bulk of the dune you end up with the slightly larger particles of sand. Okay, so they're a bit firmer, their structure is stronger, and it's less powdery. So when you're cresting dunes like this, you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of where's it really going to get soft momentarily, and you have to compensate for your front wheel possibly wanting to dive, and you've got to compensate for the amount of drive and momentum you need to be carrying. Okay, so I will ride if you can see here, I'm not riding right near the ridge on the left hand side. I'm riding in the middle, in the bulk of the dune there, where the sand is a bit firmer and sturdier. Maybe on an enduro bike you don't have to worry quite so much, but definitely on a heavy adventure bike like a Yamaha Tenere, you have to think about these things. Okay, so I'm coming around to the right. I'm going to check out this bowl. I come up to it fairly, considerably. I come up at a diagonal angle. I don't just go straight over things, and then I can see what it is and enter wherever I'm going. Okay, so here I'm coming into the bottom. I was thinking I could stop at the bottom, and then I realized it's really rutted and soft and chewed up, so I had to stay on the gas and just ride those ruts. Very important to riding it is getting the correct body position. A lot of people think you hang off the back, like a Dakar racer. We're not Dakar racers. We're just riding the dunes, okay? We're not riding those flat out speeds that they are, 100 mile an hour type stuff. You have to be balanced on the bike, okay? But you do have to lighten the front wheel. So how do you do that? Well, the best way to do that, and the best way I can describe of doing that, is that when you're standing on the bike in your standard position, what you do is you drop your heels slightly. And by dropping your heels slightly, that unlocks your hips and allows your hips to move back. So your butt starts to go into that motocross style position, okay? With a straight back and your butt back. The reason why that is, you could say you got a big butt, but the real reason is that your hip bone is the heaviest bone in your body. And by moving that heaviest bone in your body backwards, you are putting more pressure on the back tire to give you the grip in the sand, and you're lightening the front end so that it's less likely to dive. So that proper technique in the sand is very important. Don't hang off the back of the bike, because you'll lose control. If you're not balanced on the bike and you hit something, or you hit a soft patch, or you'll end up whiskey throttling it. You're just not. So there has to be an element of balance on the bike, but you need to get your weight back, and it's by dropping your heels you do that. From a throttle perspective, you have to keep a positive throttle, okay? If you're chopping the throttle, the front end's going to dive. If you're too heavy on the throttle, it's just going to spin up the whole time and dig holes, okay? So you have to be a positive throttle. That means the sand will hold you back, but the bike is in those higher rev ranges. Now, if you watch what I'm doing here, I'm reading the terrain. So I'm not riding at the dune directly. I come slightly at an angle, so I can see what's happening. I get a little bit hung up. but not enough where I'm completely stuck. So I'm again reading the next dune here. I know, I can tell there's a sense there's a drop off to the right. So I'm cautious, I have a little pause. I'm not stopping on the uphill. I'm stopping either on the level or on the downhill, which allows me to get going again, as you saw there. Yep, again, I'll come to the top here. I'll decide what I want to do. Yep, I'm going to the right and off I go. Yep, and I'm reading the sand. Where's the chewed up rutted stuff? Where's the slightly more solid stuff? Where do I skip cresting dunes all the time? Because that chews up energy. And it takes real skill to crest dunes constantly. Dakar riders have to crest those dunes because they've got waypoints to hit. You as a recreational rider, as a hobby rider, don't have to. So you can read the terrain, ride it as you want. Here I'm reading the terrain, and you'll see at this next dune as I approach, I'm aware that there might be a drop off to the right. So I ride the ridge and I look to the right here, and there's quite a big drop off there. Yeah. So I've ridden diagonally across the dune, which allows me that extra half second to make a judgment call. Again, here I'm doing it again. Yep. I'm not hitting it square on, I'm hitting them diagonally. It buys you that half second just to see what's on the other side. And therefore, if I see it a little bit earlier, I can stay on the gas a little bit earlier so I don't get caught up in that soft sand. Here I'm railing a burn, the dune, which is quite fun. But again, it's about reading that terrain, and it's about picking lines. Here you can see in the sand, there's an old camel track there, briefly. There you can see the camel tracks to the right-hand side. Camels are going to pick the most solid area of the dune to walk. Here, they're the smartest desert animals. Follow the camel tracks if they're camel tracks. I mean, there's not always camel tracks. It's special. I'm in the Sahara here. I'm using all sorts of indications and signs to read the dunes to make my life easier. Yeah, and that's what you have to do. You have to look for all sorts of different things, not just the shape of the dune, but things like camel tracks, things like where the quad bikes go. Yeah, and then make your decisions. Remember that the quad bikes can sit right on top of the sand. They've got 4 wheels. 2 wheels is different, so you've got to take it with a pinch of salt where those quad bikes have been. But yeah. So gear selection, let's talk gear selection. I've got standard gearing on this Yamaha Tenere. I'm riding around in 3rd gear most of the time. 4th gear didn't pull in the big dunes. 4th gear, great in flat areas, but in big dunes, you're going to struggle. Hopefully, I've managed to impart some knowledge here. Put a comment, give us a like, and maybe we'll see you in the dunes one day. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.